That was shocking, absolutely shocking. To let the lead slip in the dying minutes of the game once again is just so poor from Liverpool. They could have gone 9 points clear, but instead now they're 7 points clear. Arsenal have a game on Saturday, 12:30 against Leicester. Their morale would have been absolutely shot had Liverpool won this game, but after seeing a draw, they can draw a bit of confidence that it's only 7 points and not 9 points. Having said that, it was an absolutely brilliant Merseyside derby, the last one at Goodison Park, and what a derby it was. It had absolutely everything: fights, red cards, goals, skills, tackles. This game was an old school derby and it was absolutely brilliant to watch for a neutral. For a Liverpool fan, it was extremely frustrating. We're going to go through all the details in this video, but the one thing that I really want to say is that there was only one man who stopped Liverpool getting that victory today, and that was MacAllister. He had an absolutely shocking performance in the whole 90 minutes. I'm not just talking about one or two decisions. The performance as a whole from MacAllister was shocking. Let's start talking about Everton's equalizers, and this is mainly about MacAllister here. Yeah, the first thing I want to talk about in that second goal is 96 minutes, because it was 6 minutes added on. There was a clash of heads between two Everton players where they both ran into each other, and that occurred in the 94th or 95th minute. When that ball gets played up top, that was the 98th minute. MacAllister should have blown his whistle, but he doesn't. The ball goes into the box, and in that box, when the ball goes, Konate can win that header, but Beto completely takes him out. And don't get me wrong, it would have been soft, but it was definitely a foul, and it stops Konate from being able to clear the ball. Because he can't clear that ball, the ball bounces into the back post, and then Tarkowski scores. VAR does an offside check. When you see the offside line, they check it from Van Dijk's shoulder and they check it from Doucouré's knee, when Doucouré's shoulder was ahead of his knee. And there's a Twitter page that does these VAR decisions and checks the offsides, and even they were saying it was so tight that it should have probably been given offside. So then you have the 8 minutes that were added on, you have the offside decision, the Beto foul, the ball comes into the back post and Tarkowski whacks it in. A once in a lifetime volley from Tarkowski. He's never hit a ball sweeter than that. It was just so unlucky. It was one of those things that you just can't control. It's out of your control. The ball hits the back of the net. Goodison Park goes crazy because it ends 2-2 in the last minute, especially because it's the last Merseyside derby at Goodison Park. And just like Van Dijk said in his post-match interview, for the Everton fans, this is like their final. And then on top of that, to add to MacAllister's brilliant performance, I want to talk about that first goal, right? MacAllister goes into NDI. He wipes his foot and he completely misses NDI, but he goes down because he thinks he's going to get contact. They win the free kick. They take it quickly. Beto's in behind Konate and he finishes it off. Brilliant finish, brilliant free kick, but it was never a free kick in the first place. And there were so many times MacAllister gave Everton the free kick when there was completely no foul that was done. And he continuously, and when you start doing these small decisions, it's very difficult for Liverpool to now sustain pressure, for Liverpool to keep the ball on the pitch and keep the ball moving. Every single time Everton players were going down, MacAllister was whistling. And then you see in the 92nd, 93rd minute, when Mohamed Salah is literally doing such a beautiful dribble, he cuts inside, Branthwaite takes him out, and MacAllister doesn't blow the whistle. It was completely different rules for Liverpool players compared to Everton players, and I thought it was an absolute I don't like blaming referees. I like to say that you should have performed on the day, and Liverpool should have performed better to win the game. But that MacAllister performance, I can see exactly why the Arsenal fans were gunning for him the other day when he had a shocking performance for them when he sent off Lewis Skelly. He is a bad referee, and I can't believe he's rated so highly. Talking about the brilliance of Mohamed Salah, he was literally the hero of the night for Liverpool once again. The first goal comes from a brilliant cross. That is a majestic cross right onto MacAllister's head, and the header from MacAllister was brilliant as well to get the goal. But that assist was what got Liverpool back into the game. And then the second goal, Curtis Jones hits it, the defender blocks it with his head, it comes out to Salah. The first touch was perfect and he finishes it off on his right foot. So he's done two brilliant pieces of play for Liverpool to win them the game, and then it gets ruined by this last minute equalizer again. And there's so many times this season where Salah should have had his moment for Liverpool, winning games, doing great celebrations, showing just how good he has been this season, and he's been let down, and he got let down again today, man. There was no way we should have let that equalizer happen. He should have been able to win the game, celebrate that he won the game for Liverpool, just like he did at Newcastle, and then Kelleher made the mistake and we equalized. It's becoming a common theme that we're trying to see our game and we let out a stupid equalizer in the last minute. It definitely needs to go, especially with tough games coming up that we need to be winning. these draws start to add up, and that's when Arsenal get a little bit confident and they start getting closer to Liverpool. We cannot allow that to happen. And in my opinion, we got Wolves, City, Villa, Newcastle. All 4 of those games need to be wins, and by the end of those 4 games, as long as we're 7 points clear, I'm going to be confident for the title. Going back to Salah and talking about performances, I thought Cody Gakpo and Luis Diaz were absolutely poor in that game. They provided nothing, especially Luis Diaz playing as the number 9 again. I think that experiment needs to end. He can do it when the game's open, but when it's a deep block, I'd rather see Darwin Núñez, I'd rather see Diogo Jota playing there. He was completely uninvolved until he moved into the left wing, where he wasn't absolutely brilliant. He was just a little bit better than he was as the number 9. As for Cody Gakpo, I think he's been excellent in recent games, but he had a poor game today. Szoboszlai's touch was all over the place in the number 10 as well, so it had to be Salah to make something out of nothing, to even get Liverpool into the position that they were in at 2-1. If Liverpool did win today though, it was all because of Alexis MacAllister. He was absolutely brilliant in the midfield, and he would have deserved all the plaudits that he would have got from that performance. He is so incredibly underrated in this fan base. People take him as if he's some joke, as if he's some average midfielder. They say he doesn't have anything specific in his skill set that makes him elite, but he is good at everything. Tackling, passing the ball forward, making sure he can play as a 6, as a 8, as a 10. Any position you put him on the pitch, he's comfortable, and those type of players are so rare that you don't appreciate them when you have them. And today, especially when Szoboszlai and Gravenberch aren't performing, you need Alexis MacAllister to step up. Just look at that first goal. Doucouré plays it out. He keeps his leg out so he can win the ball back. MacAllister wins it, plays it to Salah. He makes a brilliant run into the box. And when Salah plays it, that header is so difficult. For me, I would literally call that a world-class header. He just about gets his header on it. He hits it into the bottom corner, and Liverpool get that 1-1 straight after they conceded, which was so important in this game, because if we allowed that 1-0 to be any longer, we would have got frustrated and we would have gone away from our game plan. So Alexis MacAllister clutched up for Liverpool again today, and I feel like his defensive work is so underrated. Arne made a very good change in that game too. He had the decision to make because the midfield wasn't working, and who does he take off for Curtis Jones coming on? He took off Ryan Gravenberch. And the reason he took off Ryan Gravenberch, going on to the tactical side of the game, was because Everton were holding that middle part so strong, because they know Liverpool want to create opportunities through the middle. So they blocked out Ryan Gravenberch from the game completely, and Conor Bradley isn't Trent Alexander-Arnold, which we'll touch on later, so he wasn't able to play those long passes. That meant Liverpool's build-up play was completely all over the place without both of those sources of moving the ball forward. Arne Slot saw this, so he took off Gravenberch, which is very risky because he's the number 6, and he moved Alexis MacAllister into the 6. And the big difference between the two players is Ryan Gravenberch loves to carry the ball forward, whereas Alexis MacAllister can play the ball forward with a pass, and that's different to carrying the ball forward. So when Alexis MacAllister was breaking the lines, Liverpool were able to progress the ball so much better, and it's a much riskier play because Alexis MacAllister plays risky passes, but it worked out on the benefit of Liverpool because that's when they started to actually dominate the game compared to Everton. As we touched on earlier, I want to now emphasize on that, is Arne Slot made a tactical switch in this game, and he has been making tactical switches all over the season, but this one was very good. He brought on Trent Alexander-Arnold and he brought on Kostas Tsimikas, and the fullbacks' abilities on the ball were completely different to what Robertson and Bradley provided. So what he did was, in the first half, the fullbacks were very deep. They were right next to the centre-backs and they weren't allowed to push up too much, as you didn't see Robertson really attacking that left flank, and neither did you Conor Bradley. Now Kostas Tsimikas had moved up right next to Luis Diaz. He was almost like a winger, and at that point Everton dropped deeper because they were worried about Tsimikas' crossing ability. And on the other side, Trent Alexander-Arnold was deeper, but he was given space to play the ball. And when it's Trent Alexander-Arnold on the ball, you know you can play the long passes, you know you can play the balls in behind just because of how accurate he is. And on top of that, you can play riskier passes with him and Alexis MacAllister. Now you're moving the ball forward with real direction and intensity, and that's where the game flipped a little bit and Liverpool got advantage. And as soon as that happened, you could see Diogo Jota had moments, Darwin Núñez had moments, and just in general Liverpool's attack had much better moments, which they didn't capitalize on, but it was 2-1, and Liverpool should have won the game from Arne Slot's tactical switch when it went 2-1. And I feel like his tactical switches during games have been incredibly underrated, because there's moments where Liverpool have a lapse in concentration in defense. We've conceded, we've drew the game, and Arne Slot's lost his head from what's happened. But overall, I feel like Arne Slot as a coach is one of the best in the world right now, especially at changing a game from the first half to the second half. If you see how Liverpool change a game depending on how the opponents are playing, there's a reason why Liverpool really haven't lost too many games. The Plymouth one, we played a second string team And the other game that we lost was Nottingham Forest. When you look at the Tottenham one in the first leg of the Carabao Cup, it's a 2-leg game. And when you look at PSV, it's a nothing game. And Arne Slot was explaining that in his interviews. Of course, like I said, Liverpool deserved to win the game 2-1. Arne Slot's tactical switches were brilliant, but that one person that we spoke about previously, Michael Oliver, really wanted a robbery to happen. Having said all of that, and Liverpool being in the position at 2-1 probably should have won the game, I have to say, you have to give plaudits to David Moyes. The job that he has done at Everton so far since coming in, what they are now, they are absolutely brilliant. A proper unit. Defensively, they work incredibly hard. They have some big guys at the back who always win their aerial duels, strong in the defensive duels, so much more confidence. And when you go up front and you're playing long balls into Beto and Decore, they're running with smart movements, with IQ. If you saw at times, they were playing a long ball, and Van Dijk is usually good at those long balls. He always wins them. But what they did instead was get Beto and Decore onto Van Dijk, and that way they were able to keep the ball rather than losing it, because once Van Dijk wins that header is more times than not is going to a Liverpool player. And if you look at the defensive performance from Everton's side, they only conceded about 0.5 or 0.6 XG against Liverpool, and throughout the whole season that's probably Liverpool's lowest XG created in a game, which is absolutely brilliant from David Moyes when you think about it. He's now 3 wins and a draw in his recent games for Everton, which is absolutely incredible. For how low Everton were, you can see how much the fans must be rating the job David Moyes is doing so far. To touch on a couple of performances on the Everton side, Branthwaite at the back for Everton was an absolute monster. His ball playing ability to get that ball out under pressure was absolutely brilliant. His long passes were so accurate, and defensively he was always in the right places. His last ditch tackling was fantastic. He was able to really operate alongside Tarkowski so comfortably compared to usual. Overall though, the Merseyside Derby ends in a draw and Liverpool goes 7 points clear, which is the key thing from this game for Liverpool. You have to give credit to Everton, they were excellent, and if you saw the post-game antics, this Merseyside Derby had absolutely everything. It was one of those, if you're neutral and you're watching this game, it was very exciting. After the game, Arne Slot, Decore and even Curtis Jones all got sent off because there was a brawl that occurred, and during that brawl Curtis Jones and Decore were really going at it, and I rate Curtis Jones for what he did because he was up against 3 man. Decore was teasing the Liverpool fans and Curtis Jones went straight up to them. He ended up getting sent off. Decore also ended up getting a second yellow card, and then Arne Slot went up to Michael Oliver and did a handshake, and he probably said something as well which ended up getting him sent off. So that's 3 people sent off, and I think Liverpool's assistant manager also got sent off because it wasn't confirmed until later. So that's 4 people Michael Oliver ended up getting sent off. All I want to ask is, why is it whenever Michael Oliver is the referee, he is always the attention of the game? It's never what happened during the game or the performances of the game. It's always what did Michael Oliver do in the game, and he did it again today in this Merseyside derby. After all of that, were Liverpool robbed? Did Everton deserve to get a point? Comment your thoughts on the game down below. But before you leave, don't forget to leave the comments like I said, subscribe for more and hit the notification bell because as you've seen, I will be uploading more often.